All right, we'll go ahead and get started. We've had a little change in today's schedule for our program. In 30 minutes, we're going to get on buses and head over to Reliant Stadium, practice at the Texans bubble here this afternoon. So it'll be good to head over there. The change of scenery is always good. Give us a chance to be indoors, since that's where we're going to be playing Friday morning, and get a good typical Wednesday practice in for us, if you will, being that the game is on Friday. So, coming off this last game, not really anything changed in my mind from what I said after the game in terms of two good quality programs playing each other. I was certainly proud of our student-athletes' effort. I thought our kids played extremely hard. I've got a lot of respect for Coach Tuberville, certainly, and the program at Cincinnati. And, we made a couple key mistakes that, like we talked about, you can't make when you're going against a program of that caliber. So, the good news is they're correctable. We had teachable moments in the game, and certainly in the meetings, watching the video with our student-athletes afterwards. And, I expect those corrections to be made and moving forward. So, again, we've got another certainly quality opponent this week. And, when you look at the programs we've played this season, and you talk about, on a national level, certainly their win-loss records, I put SMU right up with all of them. And it'll be another great challenge for our program. This is a rivalry game. Again, last year, you look back on last season, and we had won 3 straight, and then we go to their place and really, quite frankly, got embarrassed on a Thursday night nationally televised contest. So, we're certainly, everyone in our program is looking forward to be at home in Houston for the game Friday. And, again, Coach Jones, his staff have done a great job. I know Garrett Gilbert, their quarterback, who's as good a quarterback as I've seen on video this season, got banged up in the South Florida game. Hopefully he'll be all right. I've not heard his status yet for the game, but when you watch him on film, I don't have time in the next 27 minutes to talk about how well he's done this season, and his confidence is an all-time high. The NFL scouts that come through here on a weekly basis, they're just raving about him. So he's having a great season, and he's got a bunch of talent around him, and certainly defensively, they got a 3-man front, and they pose problems to teams, do a great job stopping the run. So be a great challenge for us. It'll be senior day. I've mentioned that a couple times. We're going to recognize our 14 seniors and 2 juniors that will have their last game in front of our students, fans, and alumni. So, we'll get out on the practice field here in a little bit and continue our preparation toward Friday. Any questions?
They're a completely different style than Cincinnati coming in. I mean, they're going to more wide open, throw the ball more. Cincinnati was the leading rushing team in the conference coming in, their size up front and all that. Are you worried about the preparing for an opponent that's so drastically different than the one you just faced?
No, and again, to respectfully disagree with you a little bit, Cincinnati, while statistically they've been running the ball well, really since their South Florida loss, they've been throwing it quite a bit more, and entered the game. We knew they were going to be throwing it more. They had done that coming into our game. Against the run, I felt like we actually did a good job. You look at the stats, we gave up like 170-something yards rushing, and I think 80 yards rushing, unfortunately, on that last drive. So we did not do a great job, certainly statistically, against the pass versus Cincinnati. But, there is going to be some carryover, if you will, and we were playing some 5 defensive back packages, putting Zach McMillan at safety that we'll be able to utilize in this game as well. We are very familiar with SMU, certainly with both programs transitioning to the American Athletic Conference from Conference USA. It's not going to be when I look at what Cincinnati had done most recently and certainly tried to do against us, and we were prepared for what they were going to do. I don't put the Cincinnati program offensively in some like I don't compare them to some of the other programs we just played that were huddling and we're getting a true fullback and tight end and running power and ISO and lead. I don't. I think there's more carryover than probably you'd think, if you will. Yeah.
Coach, there are people that are wondering if maybe the youth is catching up to the team, but these games have been very close, very competitive. So I think it's kind of hard to put your finger on what exactly is going on in the last 3 games. What is your opinion? Do you think that the youth is kind of a factor in this?
I think it's a combination of a number of things. The last 3 games. I think again, I would hope no other programs would take this comment the wrong way. I think you look back at the last 3 opponents. And 2 of the 3 right now in the top 20 or 25 in the nation in those polls. Cincinnati now, because of the win, they're 9-2. I mean, they're established. They're quality programs, which we are as well. You look at the last. Again, I'm not an excuse guy. I'm going to try to answer your question, not come across like I'm making excuses. The last 3 programs we played had a 6th-year quarterback. A quarterback that's up for the Heisman and might be the number 1 pick of the draft, and then a 4th-year junior at Central Florida, Blake Bortles, who's, you hear now scouts talking about him as a high draft pick as well. And veteran guys that have been in their system, been in their program. Brendan Kay. Well, someone can say, well, he was a backup. Well, he started a lot of football and played a lot of football at Cincinnati. So, it's been a combination of a number of things. I think, again, everybody. Thinks the transition to this level for a true freshman is very simple, and it's a little bit tougher than people imagine. We got some young men in our program that have been here a couple months that a year ago were playing against high school football programs, and now they're playing against, like I just mentioned, 21, 22, 23-year-olds that are certainly obviously bigger, faster, and stronger than what they faced a year ago. Again, we've got other guys in our program that were playing against different conference opponents a year ago, and, this has been a good stretch for us. When you look at our schedule, and again, early in the season I was asked quite a bit, what do you think about the schedule? I mean, the schedule, it is what it is. Once it comes out, that's when we're playing, and that's when we got bye weeks. And early in the season we had a couple games and a bye, then we had a couple games and a bye, and then we went 8 straight. And, you look back right now and when you bring up a freshman and then you look at maybe the stretch we've been in, in terms of a BYU, Rutgers, South Florida, Central Florida, Louisville, certainly Cincinnati. So there's some great programs there with no break, and we've got some guys banged up. Everybody in the country right now is sore and banged up, and as I stand here, we got 4 days left. We'll be at practice today, and there'll be a couple of guys that won't practice, and the injury report says sore. This is the time of the season where some of the young men, they get out of bed and they're walking a little bit slower, and they're feeling some more pain now just because of the physicality of the sport, and then you combine that with the programs we played. But again, I see our young men out there giving everything they've got. I see our young men making plays. When you look back at this last game, and I certainly again, I can't give enough credit to Cincinnati. They've got a great program. They're well coached. We had a chance to win that game. I think when you look at the last drive, I don't think you ever lose a game on one play. There's plays. I go back to the first drive. We're driving down the field. We do a poor job on the field of communication, and we just do something really, in my mind, we hadn't done all year, and we just put the ball on the ground, and it was an unforced error, which as a coach will drive you crazy. And then you teach and you understand that they're going to learn from it and you move on. So we had opportunities again to win that football game. We certainly didn't. And if there's, I could stand up here again for 15 more minutes and talk about different things the last 3 weeks. But I think it's a combination of a number of things. And again, as a coach, and I could speak for everyone in our program, staff-wise and coaching-wise, every game this season, regardless of who we've played, a ranked opponent, on the road, at home, regardless of who our opponent was, our student athletes all week have felt like we're going to win the game, and during the game, they felt like we're going to win the game. And when you've got that feeling in your program, and the kids are playing hard, you certainly got a chance. And so I like where we're headed, and I like the improvement that we've seen. And those mistakes that we did make in this last game are correctable, and I expect they will be.
You guys did a great job instilling that mindset. Kids, 1 week at a time. Don't look back, don't look forward. But 1 week left. A lot of these kids never been away from home Thanksgiving. I mean, do you anticipate that philosophy is going to be challenged this week more than it has been in the weeks past?
You know what? I don't, for a couple of reasons. One thing unique about our program is the vast majority of our student athletes are from either the greater Houston area or the state of Texas. When people ask me, give me one word to describe your program, the first word I say is family. So we've done a good job as coaches and as staff members, starting last week, making sure our student athletes have a place to go, really starting tomorrow. We're going to practice early tomorrow and let them leave here by 1 o'clock, and making sure they have places to go tomorrow afternoon and evening. And again, Thursday morning, we're not requiring them to come back until 3:30 Thursday. So, I do not like distractions. I think I appreciate you saying, we've done a good job being consistent in our message. But one thing I think we've tried to do, and whether it's been successful or not, is try to, I'm big on communication, try to make sure our student athletes understand the week ahead, when practice is going to be, meetings, the weather, the travel, everything we're getting into for the upcoming week. So certainly with the game on Friday, coupled with the Thanksgiving holiday Thursday, we've given them great notice of what this week is going to look like. There shouldn't be. Today's a little bit of a distraction with the weather, and now it's going a little bit earlier and going over to Reliant. But I don't think it's going to affect anything very much at all in terms of the game Friday and then this being the Thanksgiving holiday. To me, it's more of it's tougher if we were playing on the road, in my opinion.
Coach, you've been on television pretty much every game this season,
Mm-hmm.
but it's ESPN2 game, national televised audience the day after Thanksgiving. It's just another way to showcase your program. I guess talk about that, ending the regular season.
Right, I think it's a great opportunity. And when you look at this season, it's been I'll use the word fun initially and unique in that, we moved into a new conference, and then really right before the season began, the conference officially changed their name. So now as coaches, again, we're recruiting every day. So as coaches, now you're talking to recruits, and we came up with a plan of how are we going to now integrate the new conference. Again, it's not a knock certainly on the American Athletic Conference, but up until this past summer, you could say the Big East to recruits, and they were familiar with that. And, the American Athletic Conference just took some time. And with us, when you talk to young men about being able to come and be a part of our program and really achieve every goal they have for themselves, get a great education, earn their degree, social development, character development, spiritual development, and a chance if they want to play in the National Football League, and then you add the exposure element to it, which to me, again, goes relative to your question of in the last few years, my last really 5 years here, we'd be on TV, but it didn't have the four letters ESPN always when you talked about it. And now on a weekly basis it really does. And if it's ESPN News or ESPN2 or ESPNU, or certainly the Halloween game on the spotlight there on that Thursday, for the most part, the recruits we're talking to have those channels. So, on a weekly basis, we're on national television. That goes great for recruits. I think it gives our program certainly great exposure. And, to wear the the black uniforms on Halloween, have a good night, win that football game. We're going to come out Friday again, wear those same black uniforms again this week. So I think it's great for our program. Someone asked me the other day, hey, is 8-4 a lot better than 7-5? Really, to me, 1-0 is a lot better than 0-1. So we're going to try to win the game this week. Again, I expect we'll have a great practice today. I mentioned this the other day, and I said earlier, this is a rivalry game for our program. A lot of our student athletes were high school teammates of SMU's student athletes, or they played against each other. We've recruited some of their student athletes. They've recruited some of ours. So, again, we've got young men from Dallas. They've got young men from Houston. It's going to be a great game. One I know they'll look forward to, and we are as well. So this will be quick. So they just gave Joseph Duarte the day off today, or what happened? Go ahead. The question's about Trayvon Stewart, and he's a young man. I'm glad you brought him up, because I was thinking about him this morning sitting at my desk. I think a lot of these national awards finalists have come out in the last couple of days, and he's a young man, again, playing a position that he did not play in high school. He's been in our program now year number 2, and playing defensive back through 11 games is responsible for 10 turnovers. I mean, that is remarkable. And he's a young man. He and I talked on Sunday at length, and one-on-one. And I couldn't be more proud of him. Just a great representative of our program, a great young man, great family, and among other things, what you see in him is 2 things I'll mention. One, I've said this before about Trayvon. He loves to play football, just absolutely loves to play the game. And 2, he's a young man that when you talk about as a coach, you are going to play how you practice. He gives everything he's got at practice. He goes 100 miles an hour. He's stripping the football. I told this story the other day, but about 2 weeks ago, our scout team offense was going against our first defense, and the quarterback threw a pass, and it went over the head of the receiver, and it landed at about the 5-yard line, and it just skidded out the back of the end zone. And I look up, and we got 9 guys on defense. Plays over, looking at Coach Gibbs for the next call, and I look over, and there's Trayvon Stewart and Adrian McDonald racing each other out of the back of the end zone to dive on that incomplete pass. And that's how they're practicing. They want the football, and it's showing up. And there's 2 guys, Adrian McDonald, who, again, everything I just said about Trayvon initially, great young man, great representative of our program, comes to see me a couple days ago. Initially about what happened in the Louisville game, felt horrible about what happened in the Louisville game, but just wanted to talk, and hadn't had a turnover in a couple of weeks. And I said, well, how many interceptions do you have this year so far? I think he said he had 3. And I said, keep playing hard, keep tackling. You guys are turnover machines. It's going to come. Just keep doing what you've been doing. And sure enough, he gets an interception in the game against Cincinnati. So I can't say enough about those 2. Trayvon Stewart, again, just a fantastic young man, and again, a great representative, ambassador for a program, if you will.
Side on the offensive side, big plays were such a big part of your offense early in the season. Over the last couple of games, particularly this last one against Cincinnati, you tried to make some big plays downfield. It just didn't happen. Are you concerned the way that trend is going as you close the season here?
Concern is not a word I like to use a lot. It's something we've got to get back to. We've got to throw the ball down the field, give ourselves an opportunity to make plays down the field. When you talk about some of the big plays that we made earlier in the season, some that come to mind were, one that sticks out is the short catch and long run Daniel Spencer had. I believe it was against BYU, where his back of his hand went down. He kept his balance. He redirected, went all the way across the field, got a couple of good blocks. So when you look at that, that's a student athlete making a play right there. We had some plays early on where quarterback may break the pocket and find a receiver downfield. We've got to take some more shots down the field, throw the ball deep by calling that type of a play. We had it the other day. Greg Ward threw one down the sideline, had a big catch by Xavier Maxwell, I believe it was. So, but I agree with you. We've got to get back to making some of those big plays that helped us early on, gave us certainly points, but gave us momentum, gave us confidence. We got to get back to doing that. So I don't want to say I'm concerned that we haven't the last couple of weeks, but it's something we need to do this week and certainly in our bowl game.
With Ward giving you the spark that he did the other day, does that change the playing time at quarterback position or not? Or
It certainly might. At this point, as I stand here, we have a specific plan for Greg already for Friday. Again, what you'll see Friday is what I'm talking about now, but I don't want to really tip our plan to SMU at this point. But I think Greg came in and provided a spark for us. I think he did a really, really nice job when he was in there. I think at times this season, you look back at the Rutgers game, at the South Florida game, when he's come in, we've had some success. Again, he comes in this game with only 2 weeks of playing receiver at this level and makes some key catches as well. So, again, he's a young man I talked about. We got to find ways to get him the football, get him on the field, and you will see that this Friday in some creative ways. Yes, our senior class, it's a relatively small class with only 14. Really proud of them. They've been through some real highs in our program. They've been through some tough times as well. You're talking about young men that, and it's unique. When I look back at my coaching career, and I was at a place for 3 years, and a place for 2 years, and a place for 8 months, then a place for 3 years, and a place for 2 years, and I've been here 6 years. And when I stand up here at team meetings, we have our student athletes sit by classification in school. So our seniors sit up front, followed by our juniors, and then sophomores, and then freshmen. And when I stand up at these team meetings and I talk, and I look at the front row, and I see the Richie Leones and the Zach McMillans, guys that I can literally picture like it was yesterday, sitting in their house as they were seniors in high school, recruiting them. And now they're seniors in college, and it goes by so quickly. And Friday is going to be an emotional day, and these guys have meant so much to our program. The example they've set for the young men that sit behind them, it's been just incredible, and to see these guys grow, and certainly not only as athletes, but or not as students, off the field. To see to sit in Richie's house, where I flew to Atlanta 6 weeks in a row and sat in his house 6 different evenings, and he was 17 years old, and now he's 21, 22 years old, and just to see the development off the field, the change, the maturing process. Again, not that they were immature, but just now they're 21, 22, 23 years old, and they're getting ready to either have a professional career or move out and get into the real world. And that's why you get into coaching, to be around young men. Hope you have some sort of impact on their life away from football. And I couldn't be more proud of these 14 young men. Austin Lunsford's a young man that's been in our program, has done a great job, done everything we've asked. He is going to graduate next month. He's already got a job lined up. And then David Pyland certainly is going to graduate next month and unfortunately can no longer play. So we'll recognize all 16 of those student athletes Friday. And it seemed like I was just telling them, and they tell me this. Richie came in my office last week and said, "Coach, it seemed like you were just saying 18 days till the Southern game, and now we got 4 days left." So it goes by quickly, and certainly we'll be sad to see them leave. All right, thank you.